Faithful, brace yourself. There's a piece of our foundation that could shake the cap sheet, and it's not some random social media noise. There's a scenario that, if it becomes real, instantly flips the front office's top priority overnight. There's a big-name receiver situation being floated across the league that could land on our radar, and I can already see this comment section splitting in half. And then there's a draft idea that sounds like future planning, but might actually be screaming urgency. Before we get into it, hit that like and subscribe. Now tell me, what do you trust more right now? Loyalty or cold cap math? This is where it gets real, because you can't treat this like off-season drama and move on. The name is Trent Williams, and just saying it out loud should make every 49ers fan who understands football feel that tightness in their chest, because left tackle isn't a luxury. It's the steering wheel. Here's what's on the table. Trent is heading into his age 38 season. Yeah, the number is what it is, but the level? Still high. Still the kind of player who changes how a defense lines up before the snap. He's been that bookend in Santa Clara. Pro Bowls, All-Pro nods, the whole resume. And the cap hit in 2026 is massive, right around $39 million. That's not pocket change. That's a chunk of the entire payroll. And this is the key. According to Adam Schefter of ESPN, the 49ers and Trent have been stuck trying to find a contract solution that lowers that cap number. Stuck. Not close. Not working through details. A standoff. And when Schefter uses language like that, it's not barbershop talk. It's the signal that both sides are dug in. Now, I get both angles. From Trent's side, he's got 1 year left, and it's completely reasonable to want another year or two. Security, guarantees, respect you can actually feel. From the team's side, they need flexibility. This roster has real holes, and carrying that full number can freeze your offseason. But here's the part that keeps me up. If this goes sideways, what's the plan? Who steps in? Because right now, there's no obvious heir. Losing Trent isn't losing a veteran. It's losing the piece that lets Shanahan be aggressive. It's losing the comfort blanket for your quarterback on 3rd and long. It's losing the stability that keeps your run game from turning into a weekly survival test. And there's a locker room element too. A move like that tells everyone, cap rules everything. Some fans love that cold-blooded approach. Some fans see it as disrespect to a living legend. Either way, it's a message. So let me ask you the uncomfortable question. If Trent gets anywhere near free agency, do you pay the emotional price to move off a franchise pillar? Or do you pay the football price of running 2026 with the cap tied in a knot? Think about that for a second, because the next layer makes this even more intense. There's one detail that changes the entire temperature of this conversation. It's not just a renegotiation. There's the real possibility of a release. And again, according to Adam Schefter of ESPN, if the sides can't get this resolved, the 49ers could ultimately cut Trent Williams. The moment "cut" enters the chat, everything sounds different. On paper, you can see why someone would even entertain it. Releasing him creates roughly $4.7 million in cap savings. But don't get it twisted. That savings comes with a massive scar, north of $34 million in dead money. That's money stuck on your books for a player who wouldn't be taking a single snap for you. It's like paying for an elite shield and walking into the fight without armor. And from a pure football standpoint, this gets ugly fast. Trent played a full season recently, and even at this stage, he's still one of the best at what he does. 4 sacks allowed across a heavy workload is not normal. That's stability. That's the difference between a clean pocket and chaos. Because here's the thing. You don't just replace Trent Williams. Not easily. Not instantly. Even if you find a name in free agency or you hit on a rookie, there's an adaptation curve. There are bad reps. There are blown protections. And in the NFL, a couple bad reps at left tackle can swing games, swing seasons, and swing careers. This is also where the fan base really fractures. There's the camp that says, get younger, get cheaper, don't pay premium dollars for a tackle pushing 40. And then there's the other camp, and it's loud, that says, we're still in a win-now window. You don't voluntarily create a crater at the most important spot on the line. And don't ignore the ripple effect. If the front office is willing to cut a legend because of the cap, what does that do to the rest of the locker room? Does it sharpen the edge? Or does it add a layer of uncertainty nobody needs? There's also the trade angle. Sure, other teams would call. But age, the desire for a new deal, and the cost to acquire him all work against a clean, simple trade situation. So while all of this hangs over Levi's stadium, one truth starts to form. When protection becomes uncertain, the entire offense shifts into Plan B mode. And that connects to a second pressure point that's been quietly getting louder. Who's actually catching the ball in this offense? You know how it happens. One year you feel set at wide receiver, and the next year it feels like sand slipping through your fingers. For a long time, this position didn't feel like an emergency. It felt handled. And now, it's not that simple. There's talk, nothing confirmed yet, that Stefon Diggs could become available. Yeah, that Stefon Diggs, one of the most consistently productive receivers of the last decade. Just imagining a route technician like that in a Kyle Shanahan offense makes your brain start drawing up chunk plays on first down and quick hitters in the red zone. But be honest, it's not just about talent, it's about the full picture. Start with where the 49ers are right now. The receiver room doesn't have the same certainty it used to. Brandon Ayuk feels like he's trending away from the long-term plan. Juwan Jennings is heading toward free agency. Ricky Pearsall still has to prove he can stay healthy and become a reliable week-to-week piece. Demarcus Robinson had his moments, but nobody's pretending that alone answers the big question. So yeah, there's a gap. There's a need. And that's why a name like Diggs even enters the conversation. It's the win-now temptation. A veteran who can still produce, who's proven, who can step into a huddle and command respect. But then the resistance hits. He's 32, and the front office has been trying to get younger and cheaper in key areas. Adding Diggs would be a pivot. Plus, there are off-field matters still in progress around him. Without diving into outcomes or assuming anything, even having that cloud exists as a risk factor. And after dealing with injuries, instability, and lineup chaos, it's fair to wonder if this team is prioritizing reliability and availability as much as raw upside. This is the debate I want in the comments. Would you rather swing for a veteran star to keep the Super Bowl window wide open, or protect the long-term build, even if it means entering the season with more questions than you're comfortable with? Nobody's denying the talent. The question is the hidden cost that can come with it, financially, culturally, chemistry-wise. And while we're all arguing about protection and playmakers, there's another clue sitting right in front of us that might be the clearest signal of what the front office is thinking. It's not a press conference. It's a draft projection, one that feels future, but could turn into something much more immediate. Some decisions don't get announced. They show up as patterns, as breadcrumbs, as the kind of move that looks like planning, until you realize it's preparation for something bigger. And that's why the name Caleb Lomu being mocked to the 49ers at number 27 hits different. This isn't just best player available talk. This is a left tackle prospect being framed as a long-term answer on the blind side. A player with natural traits, nimble feet, quick hands, the profile you want protecting your quarterback for years. In 2025, the numbers being discussed are clean. 8 pressures, 0 sacks allowed across a heavy pass-blocking workload. 0. That doesn't guarantee he'll be a star in the NFL, but it's not a random stat either. It's a sign of a player who understands pass sets and leverage at a high level. Now here's the twist that matters. When people consistently tie a first-round tackle to San Francisco, it's not only about talent. It's about planning for life after Trent. And the timing of that planning is what should make you lean in. On one hand, the dream scenario is obvious. Draft the kid, let him learn behind a future Hall of Famer for a year, and you transition without your offense falling apart. Smooth handoff, no panic, no emergency spending spree. But there's a second thought that's harder to ignore. What if it's not just future-proofing? What if it's protection against a breakup that could happen faster than anybody wants to admit? Because the reality is, the 49ers haven't truly invested premium draft capital into that spot in a long time. They trusted Trent's greatness. They trusted longevity. And it worked, until the cap math and the calendar started pushing back. There's also the identity angle. This offense is at its best when the line dictates terms, when the run game is a threat, when play action bites, when third and long isn't a death sentence. A young, athletic tackle keeps that DNA alive. But drafting a tackle early is still a risk. Development isn't automatic. The jump is real, the pressure is real, and the margin for error in a team trying to make a playoff run is thin. So maybe that's the message behind this. The front office isn't reacting, it's anticipating. It's drawing the map before the storm hits. The question is, when does tomorrow's plan become right now's emergency? And that brings us back to the promise from the start. All four of these threads connect. Trent's contract tension, the receiver room uncertainty, the temptation of a veteran name being floated, the draft tackle projection that feels like a contingency plan. Put it together, and it sounds like a franchise staring straight at a crossroads. So I'll leave you with this. Do you trust this blueprint? Do you want the team to stay loyal to the pillars, even if it squeezes the cap? Or do you want them to make the colder move that keeps flexibility, but risks the core identity on offense? Drop your take in the comments. And if you're riding with the faithful, make sure you like the video and subscribe, because the next decision we hear about could tell us exactly what kind of season the 49ers are building toward.